Welcome back to the Keeping Abreast podcast. I'm Dr. Jen Simmons, your host, and today I have Nathan Crane with us. I'm so excited to talk to him. Nathan is a natural health researcher, a certified holistic health coach, an award-winning best-selling author. He is an award-winning documentary filmmaker. He's on the board of the Beljanski Foundation, committed to finding natural health cures. And he is the picture of health. But Nathan, you weren't always.
Thanks for that intro. Dr. Jen, happy to be on your podcast. Thanks for having me. And I definitely was not healthy. I was almost dead at 18. So I was the opposite of the picture of health. And, thank God now I'm healthy and more energetic and stronger and more fit now than I've ever been in my entire life. And thankfully, because I have a duty as a father to, lead my children the best I can, and as a husband to be there for my wife. So, it's important I take care of my health. Not only has it become a passion and a lifestyle over the years, it's something I just love learning about and implementing in my own life and helping other people with, but it's something I look forward to, whereas at first some of these things we might talk about, health changes, lifestyle changes, diet changes, the kind of stuff that's necessary to prevent disease and increase longevity and lifespan and quality of life. Sometimes they might seem difficult or like a chore or whatever, but eventually they become things you look forward to, right? That's where I'm at now, and
sure.
Happy to share that with others.
How do you go from being almost dead at 18 to where you are today? How does that happen?
It's a long journey. I mean, I don't think we have time in this podcast for the full story, but as a teenager, I was really sick. I was on the standard American diet. I was taking a lot of antibiotics. I eventually got addicted to drugs and alcohol, ended up homeless, living on the streets, friends' houses, park benches, and backseat of my car, and literally was sick and weak and pale and frail, very skinny, very ghostly white, and headed for an early grave. I mean, I definitely was on track for cancer diagnosis or stroke or something to happen,
something bad,
or end up in prison, which would have been probably worse.
Equally as bad.
Yeah. So I had this big epiphany, a big awakening at 18 years old, and I decided to leave that life behind and basically start over. And the biggest change for me was making a commitment to my health. That was number one. It was like, look, I know what it's like to be unhealthy, to be sick, to have all these addictions, to be smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, to be drinking alcohol all the time, to be on all these medications and drugs and you name it. I know what that's like, and that life sucks. Like, it really sucked. I didn't really know there was an alternative, to be honest, until I got sober and clean and started removing these things from my life and started getting serious about health, started going to the gym. I have this memory that was so profound for me. I started going to the gym, right? And I go and I did this spin class, like the first time I did a spin class, and it kicked my ass. I was like sweating. Anyone who's ever done a spin class, drenched and breathing hard. And it was just like, I left feeling both, defeated and amazing at the same time. But then I walked outside the parking lot and I lit up a cigarette, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, are you serious? But I see so many people doing the same thing, or they go out and binge on alcohol or sugar or cookies or donuts or whatever. It's like, we're going to the gym to get healthy and be fit, and then we're putting all these poisons and toxins into our body.
Well, there's a lot of self-medicating going on, right? And I think that that's a large part of the problem. I mean, I don't think anyone gets addicted to drugs. Well, not everyone, but most people don't get addicted to drugs because they're seeking a high. They get addicted to drugs to numb the pain.
Yeah. And a lot of times that pain is invisible. You're not even aware, at least for me at a young age. I wasn't even aware of the depression and the anger and the rage and the anxiety and the self-loathing and all these emotions that were bottled up inside, seeking love and not loving myself and all these things that led, the traumas and all these things that led to the addictions. The addictions are we're trying to get out of that pain, trying to get out of that suffering, and then you experience something that gives you that sense of a high. And if you really like it and it makes you feel better than the way you're feeling, it becomes addictive. So
Yeah, of
then it's like
course.
something, and that's true for anybody with sugar addictions, with drama addictions. People become addicted to drama. It's that, cortisol release and adrenaline dump and the drama. So people look for fights, verbal
Hmm.
fights. For
Yeah.
me, physical fights, when I was younger. And so
I
anything
mean,
to
that's a dopamine hit too.
it's a major dopamine hit. I mean,
Yeah.
adrenaline is a
Yeah.
precursor to dopamine, and dopamine comes after adrenaline. So it's like you feel good, even though, that's a survival mechanism, right? Sympathetic
Yeah,
nervous
of
system.
course.
You know that. We know that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that, and most people don't realize that when they're going through it.
Well, I
So
mean, that takes a lot of insight. Most people, when they're getting into it, right? Like it happened for you as a child.
yeah,
It's very rare that a child is able to have that kind of perspective and say like, "Oh, I'm self-medicating,"
right.
right?
Yeah, and if you have good people around you, they can help you as well. But I was a lost case. 15, kicked out of the house, living on the streets. It was like I was trying to figure out life on my own,
Yeah.
and and I mean, it's not my parents' fault at all. I mean, that's a whole other story for a different time. And I have a great relationship with both of my parents now, and I love them both very deeply. But
Yeah.
I needed to go through what I needed to go through. And to get to the other side, it was about making that commitment to my health. I went back. So back to the story, I started working out. And enough times, I think I did it maybe, I don't know if it was the first time or it was shortly after that, but I went on this run. So I left the gym, had that like epiphany of like how stupid I am. I'm smoking after I'm working out. And then I decided just to run. And I ran and I went into this kind of meditative trance. It was a crazy experience. I don't think I've ever shared this with anybody, actually. I forgot all about it.
I'm so honored.
And during this run, and I don't know how far I ran or how long, I have no idea. I just ran. I was seriously in this deep meditative trance, and I was going through just deep thinking, deep, personal reflection. And at the end of the run, I just had such an aha for my life and for myself and what I needed to do at that time. And one of those things was quit smoking. Quit smoking cold turkey, and it was done. And yeah, I had the withdrawals, and I was an asshole for a few days, and it was tough, and I sweat, and I felt like crap. But it was one of the best decisions I ever made. But it was going deep inside myself, and that's what I've learned over the years since then, and have had practices where I do deep reflection and daily meditation, journaling, having time for processing the thoughts and the conflicts that are going on in our life, because it's so often that we're so inundated with so much crap and so much information, so much drama and so much news and fake news and media drama and all this stuff that people don't have time or take the time anymore to sit and reflect for 15 or 20 minutes in a calm meditative state and help think through some of the challenges in their life or decisions that they need to make. I'll give you another example. I had this great habit for a long time, for years and years. It's a little personal, but going to the bathroom in the mornings and at night, where I would read or just think, deep thinking, and get into a good book, and even when I come out of the bathroom, continue reading because I'm like really into it. And I had that for years and years. And then all of a sudden, I get an Instagram account, and I only got an Instagram account like a few years ago. Like I didn't get one, real early on. And that, like, I got sucked into that scrolling and dopamine hit and all that stuff. And then before you know it, I'm in the sauna. I've got the phone, either watching something or whatever. I'm in the bathroom. I've got the phone. A lot of people can relate to this. They take the phone with them everywhere now.
Yeah.
Sitting outside, I go sit in the sun for 15 minutes to get that vitamin D and get that good energy from the sun. And I'll have my phone next to me. I may not be on social media, but I'm listening to something or a podcast or whatever. Oftentimes good things, educational things, but never having, or I would say not never, because I still have time, but reducing the amount of time in my day-to-day drastically, of where I have this specific time for deep reflection, for inner thinking and inner processing. And so my phone, a couple of weeks ago, completely died. It just wouldn't turn on. Nothing. It couldn't get.
Blessing.
It was such a blessing. And the
Blessing.
best blessing was the insurance company messed up 3 times getting the phone to me. So what would have turned out to be 2 or 3 days without a phone turned into 10 days without my phone. And I loved every second of it. I restarted my habit. I don't even touch the phone in the mornings at all. I'm reading in the mornings. I do all my morning stuff I normally do, and
Amazing.
meditation, all the, ice bath and all that stuff, plus reading. I'm having more time for deep thinking and self-reflection, reading again at night. In the sauna, the time you would think for people going through a challenge like 170-degree sauna, 170 Fahrenheit degree sauna, like I do, can be challenging. But actually, the time goes by faster now that I'm in there doing deep thinking than when I had my phone turned on. So I've got all these new habits, reintegrated into my life that like kind of just slowly got edged out by this, phone addiction.
Yeah.
And so one of the best things you can do, like, talking about detox, for example, is do a digital detox, at least a phone detox for a few days, and see what new habits you can create in your life. It's so, for me, I'm so blessed that I didn't have my phone these past 10 days. It's been amazing.
Well, so it's so interesting that you say that, because people, I think, don't realize, because it's invisible, how toxic the electromagnetic field is.
Yeah.
And it's not until you get away from it that you realize, like, your head must feel so much better. You must have so much more clarity, right? Like, it makes a huge difference. And our phones, our devices, all those close devices, and the blue light and the overconsumption of the electromagnetic field and the overconsumption of the blue light has such negative, detrimental effects to our health. And you talked about your detoxification. Like, we need so much detox from blue light, and we're not getting it.
Yeah.
We're not getting it.
It's so true. Every time we've moved into a new house over the years, one of the first things I do is go through the bedrooms and as many rooms as possible and replace all the light bulbs with blue light blocking bulbs, because it will help you in your evenings get into a parasympathetic state, will help your melatonin release earlier and more naturally along with the sun cycle, and it will help you sleep deeper and heal better. The challenge is, let's say you wear blue light blocking lenses, because we know, people who don't know, there are a lot of studies and more coming out, and a lot of evidence and a lot of case studies that, as you just kind of went over really quickly, all this light that's coming in from our computers, our phones, our lights in our house, all of that is disrupting our melatonin cortisol production regulation, and it is disrupting our sleep, and it's causing us to have less REM sleep and less deep sleep. And I see you put your blue light blocking glasses on right now, and it's causing, melatonin, when the sun goes down, melatonin starts getting released. But if you have all these lights on in your house and all around you, your brain still thinks the sun's up, and so it has a hard time releasing that melatonin at its natural cycle. And so if you can turn off all the lights or replace them with blue light blocking bulbs like I have, that helps significantly. But then let's say you're on your computer or you're on your phone at night, like, you're still getting all that blue light. Now, there are apps and things that I've installed that also block the blue light from the phones or the computers. But I stopped, like, after 4 or 5 o'clock at night. Like, I'm not on my computer anymore. I rarely watch TV. I did have the habit of my phone, but now in the evenings after I work out, it's like I'm not even looking at my phone most of the time, and now I read and then go to bed. So it's like I'm sleeping better.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And even so much as not putting overhead light on, but using lamp light and like eye level light and lower after the sun goes down, because our brains are really smart, and it knows the difference between light that's up here and light that's down here.
100%. And, melatonin, people think melatonin is just a hormone for sleep. Well, it's one of the most powerful antioxidants and anti-cancer molecules that our body produces. So if you're down-regulating your melatonin on a daily basis, you're not getting enough of it in the quantities and at the time that your body needs it, you are limiting your body's ability to fight off diseases like cancer and to fight off all kinds of other infections and things that the antioxidants, the antioxidant power of melatonin has in the body. So We need
Absolutely.
that regular cycle in place. And then the other part of it is, how you end your day for sleep. Improving sleep is just as important as how you start your day. So I go outside and I watch the sunrise or the sun if I'm up later than the sun has risen, and spend 15 minutes outside reading, getting that light, that sunlight has been shown in the early part of the day. That's when you want cortisol to be released.
Yeah.
Starts to wake you up. It starts to bring your adenosine down. And what you're going to find is if you don't block that adenosine with caffeine like I was doing, so I stopped doing caffeine for the first few hours of the morning, and you watch the sun rise, or at least look at the sun 10 or 15 minutes in the morning.
Yeah. Just
then
get
your
exposure to
melatonin goes down,
natural,
cortisol goes up, natural
get
light.
exposure to natural light.
It will regulate your cycle in the most natural and beneficial way, so you can then go to sleep at an earlier time, feeling better, get deeper sleep, and get all the benefits of this natural circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
That our hormone production is in alignment with the circadian rhythm of the planet and the moon and the sun and all this. And it's incredible. You're going to reduce inflammation. You're going to increase energy. You're going to feel better. You're going to fight disease easier. I mean, and it's free. Like, this is free stuff you can do every day. It's easy.
That's exactly right.
You're good doing it.
Yeah. People so often talk about that health is expensive and being healthy is expensive, and they completely discount the things that are entirely free that make a huge difference, because we all are tied to that circadian rhythm, that rhythm of the sun. And so when we don't get exposure to the sun, our processes don't work the way that they do. And so I tell people, like, yes, get sunlight first thing in the morning, like within 5 minutes of waking, and then again midday, and then watch the sunset. These are all signals to your body of what to do. Our bodies know what to do, but we've interfered with our body's ability to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So when you're giving it these blue light signals again and again and again, and over consuming, your body's confused. It thinks that you have a desert to cross, or an ocean to cross. It's confused. We are nomadic people. And so it's just taking the signals that you're giving it from the environment. So if you want your body to function the way it's supposed to function, you have to live within the laws of nature. And we live in a very unnatural environment now.
It's hard. It's hard because you want to live in this modern, technocratic, comfortable society.
Oh, I love that word, technocratic. I never heard it before.
Well, the technocrats are taking over the world. They want to rule us by technology. It's basically technocratic. Literally, I went to Whole Foods the other day and they're like, oh yeah, you can pay with your fingerprint now. And I'm like, nope, never. I will never give you my fingerprints and my handprint to pay with anything ever.
Yeah, no,
never implant me with a chip. It will never make me, part. I have no interest in the transhumanist movement. I appreciate the technologies we have to make our lives comfortable and allow us to do this work and serve and help people around the world. When you start going into transhumanism movement and turning people into half robots and chips in them and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, we've gone way too far. We have crossed the edge into a place where I have no desire to be involved in that at all. And if that means going and living out in the mountains in a cave like a monk, I'd be more interested in that.
So be it, right?
Than what people are wanting in this technocratic society. So it's like, there are good benefits to it, and I acknowledge that and appreciate it. But how do we live in this modern society and still try to be in harmony with nature the best we can? Have you seen the new documentary series on Netflix, Live to 100 with Dan?
No, but it's on my list.
So it's Dan Buettner, wrote the Blue Zones book.
Yeah, of course. They
did a documentary series. They actually went out and then visited these blue zones and documented it, and they did a really good job of it. But so people haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. One of the sad parts of it is, like in Okinawa, for example, which has had one of the highest concentrations of centenarians and the oldest, healthiest people on the planet for potentially centuries.
Yeah.
Now, because of the modern civilization moving in, the fast food restaurants and the processed foods and all that kind of stuff, the number of centenarians has decreased significantly just in the last 20 years.
So
and they're
sad.
almost not a blue zone anymore. And
This is America's contribution to the world.
Well, it's America's contributions, and it is, even beyond that, I think it is the people who could care less about your health and my health, who are ruling the world, who want us to, basically give them all of our money so they can control our lives and keep us sick and unhealthy. And people go, oh, it sounds like conspiracy. It's like, well, no, it's not. Look at who gets all the money and what they do with it. They're not investing in nutritional programs, teaching kids how to eat healthy and trying to keep you healthy. All the money that a lot of these technocratic, very powerful people, what they put it in, they put it into GMOs, they put it into fake meats that are filled with processed garbage.
Absolutely.
And then tell you, oh, go vegan, you're going to be healthy, eat our fake meat so you can pay us billions of dollars. I'm like, why would you eat fake meat? Just eat some beans and rice and vegetables, and you got all the protein and health you need. You don't need that garbage over there. But that's what they want. They want you eating their garbage, giving them all your money.
Yeah.
And what do they do with it? They invest in drugs, in pharmaceuticals, in jabs to help us stay healthy.
It's a complete system, right? I mean, the food industry is the way it is because it feeds right into the pharmaceutical industry, which then in turn, they're
in the medical system.
They're in partnership with one another, and it's a business that works great for business.
Right.
It's just terrible for people.
Right. Great for money, terrible for people.
Yeah. Yeah. But you have to think about, like, what's their goal? Their goal is not health. Their goal is business. It's earning money, and they're doing a really good job at that.
Yeah.
Right. And if fruits and vegetables were subsidized like everything else that's subsidized, wheat, corn, soy, meat, dairy, then we would be talking about a totally different thing, but that doesn't make them any money. Like, how do you feed people broccoli and then get them to buy pharmaceuticals? You don't. Right. And so let's keep them off of broccoli. Right. And incentivize them to eat the junk.
Exactly. So that's where it comes up to each one of us to make these decisions for our health. Hey, we want to live in this modern society. We don't have to give in to what they're trying to make us do and eat. We don't have to follow their path. We can live in this modern society and create our own path, choose the foods that are going to nourish us, choose the lifestyle habits that are going to nourish us, choose the relationships that are going to nourish us. And people, the power that we have to vote with our dollar is so powerful. Whatever you go out and buy tells them to make more of it.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Exactly right.
So if you go to the produce section and you spend 80% of your budget on your grocery budget in the organic produce section, 20% on the other goods that you might need, you are telling the industry, here's what I want. I want more organic produce.
Yeah.
And that's what that means.
You're telling them what's important.
Supply and demand, right? It's supply and demand. The more you demand, the more they have to supply. Well, if you go into the package section and start buying these fake processed meats, and you turn it over, it's got all kinds of preservatives and crap in it that doesn't have anything that sounds like a real natural plant. And that's where you're putting your money. Well, guess what? That is what they're going to produce more of. And those are the things that are going to keep us sick. So we have to vote with our dollar in the things that we want to see more of. We can't, so many people out there are complaining. Oh, they're not giving us healthy food. They're giving us poison. They're giving us garbage. They're giving us, but we have the choice to choose those or not. Exactly. Yeah. And I understand organic food can and often is more expensive. But when you compare organic produce to conventional produce, that the amount of difference in the financial value between the two is actually pretty insignificant.
Yeah, it's negligible.
The biggest difference is if you're buying the organic packaged stuff. That's where the prices are skyrocketed 2-3 times more. And often it's the potato chips and the granola bars and the cookies and that kind of stuff. You're like, oh, it's
I
organic.
mean, listen, there's organic gummy bears. Like I
Right. It
remember
doesn't mean it
one of
doesn't.
the scrub nurses when I was a surgeon used to say, like, I don't understand. My kids have all these medical problems, but we eat all organic. And she
Right.
takes these packages out of her bag and it's like organic gummy bears. And I was like, organic junk is still junk.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
you're not helping anyone.
Right. Stop the junk, stop the processed foods, stop the processed sugary foods, and then let's choose more fruits. I would rather people, just choose any conventional fruits and vegetables and eat more of those in replace of certain packaged foods
Yeah.
than buying organic packaged foods.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge proponent for organic because we get the chemicals and pesticides and herbicides and fungicides out of the food and out of your body. But there have been studies that show that people who just add a few servings of fruits and vegetables a day to their diet in replace of some junk food, even as conventional fruits and vegetables, see significant health improvements.
Yeah.
So that alone is something people can do, and we need to take action to do it. And that's what I coach people and guide people to do. It's like, look, start small. Where are you at right now? Are you eating 5 or 6 or 7 servings of vegetables every day? Or eating 5 to 7 servings of fruit every day? Most people are going to say no. Okay, well, you're not going to jump up to 5 or 7 overnight. So let's pick 3 vegetables that you like, you can eat on a regular basis. Something green, something orange or red, something colorful. And let's start adding those in, at least 3 a day, 4 if you're already eating 1 or 2. And then fruits, same thing. Is pick different varieties of fruits. I don't want you eating 4 apples a day.
Right.
Let's pick an apple. Let's
Definitely
pick a mango,
not 4 bananas a day.
Definitely not 4 bananas. 4 different fruits, 4 different servings of vegetables.
Yeah.
And let's add that into your diet. And let's start small, but build a foundation and see how much you feel better, because you get that fiber and those nutrients in your body. Your body is going, oh, I don't really want those potato chips. Oh, I'm not really hungry for that ice cream. Oh, and then you start replacing these bad habits like I did, ice cream binging, because my body really wanted healthy sugars. It really wanted nutrients.
Yeah.
And so I go eat the ice cream thinking that was serving me. But then when I started replacing that with a banana and some yogurt, some coconut yogurt and a banana, maybe a little honey and some almonds in there, and make that as a snack, the more I did that, or had a mango or had blueberries or something else, I no longer look to that ice cream anymore. It's like, I can't tell you the last time I had ice cream. I used to eat tubs of ice cream. I cannot tell you the last time I had. It's been months and months. I have no desire for ice cream anymore.
Yeah. And the reason that you're eating tubs of it is because your body is searching for nourishment.
Starving.
Starving. And that's why so many people who are so overweight, they may be overweight, but they are so undernourished.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting the nourishment from their food. Exactly. And it's amazing how quickly that can turn around when you start to give your body what it needs.
It's so quick. It is so quick. And it's so amazing.
Quick.
I mean, and it can take weeks or months, but you start making these small adjustments. Some of the things I've changed over the years is like having a glass of green juice first thing in the morning, green vegetable juice, and how much she didn't look forward to it for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, this actually tastes good. Yeah. She's going on 13 now. And it's like, she's like, I look forward to the green juice in the morning. We didn't add anything sweet to it. It's just, raw, bitter vegetables, celery, cucumber, kale, things like that. Nothing like super sweet. Yeah. You can start with adding an apple or an orange.
Yeah, you can add a green apple to that. And then as time goes by, your taste will change. Our taste buds do change, and they change in accordance of what we're feeding our microbiome. Exactly. Right. So the healthier and more diverse your microbiome becomes, it wants to be nourished. So it's not going to want that thing that doesn't nourish it.
But see, I remember the same thing happened to me. It's like I started eating, more vegetables, and I was like, yeah, these don't taste that good. But over time, it's it's like, oh, I actually look forward to eating the
Yeah.
broccoli. I look forward to eating the kale. I look forward to adding these things. So juice in the morning, a big smoothie. I will make my smoothie sweet, but I'll make a big smoothie. I'll put a handful of spinach. I'll put carrots. I'll put cucumber. I'll put celery, kale in there. I'll put fruit. I'll put blueberries, put some organic protein powder in there, flax seeds, chia seeds. I mean, I load it up. I make 1,000-calorie smoothie, yeah. But I'm an athlete. I'm burning 5,000 calories a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need that.
I also see what you do on Instagram.
Yeah.
You need that smoothie.
I need it. I need it. But that's another way you can get multiple servings of fruits and veggies in your just starting the day in a smoothie and make it taste good. I'll put some orange juice. I'll do water, put some organic orange juice in there, and then some, berries and maybe an apple or a pear or something like that. And it tastes amazing, and it's just full of nutrients, antioxidants. So it's just deciding where people are at and going, hey, if I'm not as healthy as I would like to be, or I'm dealing with a chronic disease, maybe it's cancer, maybe it's autoimmune disease, maybe it's chronic pain, it's joint pain, whatever it might be, digestive issues, and I want to be healthier, well, it's not about changing 100 things overnight. It's starting to pick and look at, where am I weakest? Is it my diet? Is my diet really, really bad? Okay. Let's start there. Let's start simple. Let's start a smoothie in the morning or green juice in the morning. Let's just stick to that for a while and see how that goes. Maybe you're already somewhat advanced, and so you start looking at other options. It's like, well, what could I add? Maybe I've been doing 3 or 4 servings a day. So let's bump that up. Let's add 2 more servings a day of vegetables or 2 more servings a day of fruit. Maybe you haven't done sauna before, so maybe start looking into adding sauna in a few days a week. Or upping your exercise routine, or adding in an mental, emotional, spiritual practice, meditation, deep reflection, qigong, tai chi, energy medicine, yoga, any of these practices that help. I think health is 80% mental, emotional, spiritual, 20% physical. And I used to think it was the opposite. I used to think it was all physical and 80% physical, 20% the other stuff. But over the years, as I've met more and more and more people who healed all kinds of chronic diseases with the power of their mind and emotions and spiritual practice, and as I've looked more into German new medicine and people reversing irreversible cancers by changing nothing except healing, mental, emotional challenges. I've met many people, started meditating and started healing their chronic health issues. And I myself, doing deep reflection and meditation and spiritual practices, have seen incredible enhancements in my life and in my health. I really believe that the diet and the nutrition, the herbs and the supplements and the physical stuff and the sauna and the exercise is really important. But I honestly think it's 20%, maybe 30%. And I think mental, emotional, spiritual is 70 or 80% of health. And you can see that in some people, even in some other countries, and people around the world. You're like, yeah, well, they drank and smoked and ate fried food their whole life. They lived to 90 with no issues. And like those situations, they are rare. But oftentimes, if you dig deeper, what I have found and what I've heard in many of those situations, that person had a great relationship with a loved one. They were part of a local community of people that they had good relationships with. They didn't have much stress in their life at all. They slept well. They had self-confidence. They felt like they had a purpose in their life. All these things, and all these things, that's why I like Live to 100, the documentary series, because he goes all these blue zones and touches on the diet, but more importantly, goes into all these other aspects as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize, community and friendships and nurturing and emotional health. And that's what this is years ago. I finally realized
that's one of the main things about the blue zones is that they live very highly connected lives. Yeah. And the older they get, the wiser they're considered and the more they're honored. So they're not throwing their elderly away. Their elderly are revered. And when you're revered, when your life has tremendous purpose, you want to live it. Right? And the number one predictor of how long you live is how long you think you're going to live and how long you want to live.
And how happy you are, right? Yeah. Have you seen the you've probably seen it at some point. This came out years ago, but the Harvard study that they followed people from of all different backgrounds and ethnicities from the 1920s all the way up until maybe, I think the study finished 10, 15 years ago. They may still be continuing the study. There's a TED Talk about it. And, the number one predictor in all these people they followed was their level of happiness. And what contributed that level of happiness is everything you're talking about right now, relationships and community and connectedness and purpose in life. And it's a fantastic study. There's a great TED Talk on it for anyone who wants to go watch it.
And, we've seen this time and time again. I mean, the body is definitely keeping score without question. And we know that trauma, especially early childhood events, have very adverse effects on health. And we know from people like Joe Dispenza, when you watch these people who go to a week-long conference with him and they go and they're not walking and they walk out, or they have cancer and they have a scan that shows that their disease is gone, or that all their tumor markers are not measurable anymore. I mean, we know how powerful the mind is, and yet so many people don't tap into that.
That's why it takes, that's why I've been focused on building a new community online. It's called Healing Life. People can learn more about it at healinglife.net, where we focus on the mental, emotional, spiritual aspect of health and well-being. And yes, we discuss nutrition and diet and all these other things as well. But what people are missing when they know this information, when you tell them, I tell them, it's like, yeah, this sounds good. That makes sense. But how do I do it? Where do I start? And so that's what I created at Healing Life, was a place where people can actually go in community on live classes throughout the week, anywhere in the world, on Zoom classes, and actually practice these different mind-body practices with different master teachers from different traditions, meditation teachers, Reiki energy healing teachers, master Qigong teachers, energy medicine, yoga teachers, and you actually can be in a community of people you connect with, ask questions to, and actually get to do these practices. Because the number one, predictor of health is, are you actually practicing what you're preaching or what you're hearing, right? Like, we could have all these studies on the number one predictor of longevity is happiness, or is this or that. It's like, well, I think the number one predictor is, are you actually doing it? Those people are doing the things. If you don't do anything or change anything,
are you walking your talk?
Are you practicing? And that's so these are daily practices. People can get in, they can do the live ones or attend the replays after, but it allows you an opportunity to actually go somewhere and start implementing the things that we're talking about, and feel the change in your own body, feel the change in your own mind and emotions, feel yourself be uplifted and have more energy and feel, better and just at peace. One of the number one things we hear from people is just how much more at peace they feel, how much more, peace they feel in their lives and their mind, and less, noise and clutter and worry and fear, and just how much more peaceful. And we know how important that feeling of peace is in our lives, because upregulates the parasympathetic nervous system, turns on the immune system, releases dopamine, helps enhance our immunity, these things that are essential for health.
Yeah, this is something that I focus on in the very beginning of my book, because the whole approach to cancer in this country, everyone talks about a fight, right? Fight against cancer and get ready to fight and win the war and win the battle. And the truth is that all of those words, that verbiage, it connotates a certain environment, right? It connotates like fear and violence and all of the things that you don't want to dominate your psyche. Right. And so I tell people, like, instead of getting ready for war, I want you to get ready for peace.
Yeah.
I want you to find that peace inside of you, that joy, and shift your chemistry from the chemistry of stress to the chemistry of joy, because that's what fosters health.
It's so true. And it's, it's one of those things that I've had to juggle for years and years, because, when it comes to reaching people and connecting with people, they resonate with those terms, fight cancer, winning the
Yeah.
war on cancer, let's beat cancer and all that. So we use those terms all the time, outward expressing to connect with people. And then when they come into the community, they read our books, they take our courses, programs, etc. Everything that they're taught is exactly what you just said. It's not about fighting it. It's about loving and nurturing and accepting.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that thing where it's like, outward expression of, let's say marketing or whatever, trying to reach and help people, like people just turn that off, like, yeah, whatever, that hippy dippy stuff, whatever, but it's like,
Yeah, you
no,
got to get them in the door.
we got to reach people where they're at
Yeah.
and take them to where they really want to go, which is, where do you really want to be? You want to be a shining example of health. You want to feel good. You want to be at peace in your life. You want to have more energy. So it's like, okay, here's how we can do that.
Yeah. Talk about what they want so you can give them what they need.
We all need that, right?
Yeah.
So, with everything we do. Yeah. I told you how hard, CrossFit's going to be on your first session, and told you how much it's going to hurt, and you're going to be, your lungs are bleeding and you're coughing and sweating all over the place. Some people are a little crazy, like me, will be like, all right, let's do it. I like the challenge. Most people would be like, that sounds terrible. I don't want anything.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's actually a hard pass.
Funny story, and I know we got to wrap up. My brother, when he first told me about CrossFit, that's what I said. I was like, that sounds stupid. Why would I ever want to do that? And then time went by, and he invited me to a class, like a bring a friend day, and I was like, oh, I'll go experience it. What the heck? Maybe it'll make me a better runner. So I went to it and then went through that whole experience of, the challenge and the sweating and the breathing hard and laying on the floor. And at the end of it, I was like, this was freaking amazing. This was incredible. And I got hooked. I got totally addicted and hooked. But it's one of those things, most people would hear that and go, I don't want anything to do with that. And for people who are dealing with a chronic health issue, I wouldn't tell you, yeah, go jump into CrossFit classes right away. I mean, you need more nurture, you need more, time, but don't shy away from a little challenge. Don't shy away from getting the heart rate up on a regular basis. Don't shy away from sauna or other things that are going to help actually enhance your cardiovascular system and your immune system. It's just, you're dealing with a chronic health issue, you've got to ease into those things. But we have people at our CrossFit gym in their 60s and 70s that are thriving, doing the same things that the 20 and 30-year-olds are doing. And you would be, just so amazed. And it's keeping them young and healthy. But, they're not dealing with a chronic health condition doing that. Some of them overcame those conditions through, gently entering into things like CrossFit. And then now they can do the high intensity stuff and feel amazing about it. So anyway, went off on a little tangent there. Sorry about that. But
but I think it speaks to our message, which we are putting out there all the time, which is that you have so much more power than you think. And to circle back to what we kind of started off with here is sometimes that really challenging thing is putting down your phone. Sometimes that really challenging thing is sitting still and tapping into your inner voice and tapping into your courage. And so no matter what that challenge is, knowing that you're worth it and knowing that all of these things, when you focus on yourself and your health, they pay you back in spades.
Yeah, 100%.
Nathan, where can people find you and where can people learn more about your community?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. NathanCrane.com is my website. You can go there, find my podcast. You can download my Amazon best-selling book called Becoming Cancer Free. I just give it away for free at the website as well as a PDF. So that's just NathanCrane.com. If you want to experience some of these healing practices that I was talking about, you can go try that and experience that at healinglife.net.
That's wonderful. And we'll make sure to put all of this in the show notes. Nathan, it was great to see you today. Thank you, as always, for doing what you do, sharing your wisdom. I know that cancer is a hard thing to talk about, and it takes a lot of bravery to talk about it the way that you and I talk about it, and empower people to heal themselves and let them know that that the real cures are the things that they're doing outside of the doctor's office, because health doesn't happen in a hospital or a chemotherapy suite or a radiation suite. Health happens at home with your habits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Jen. Always a pleasure to hang out with you and talk with you.
Today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Everybody
Bye
take
for
care. I
now.
wish you so much health.
Bye for now.